Welcome to Roanoke County Today. I'm Teresa Hall, Roanoke County's Public Information Director. Just ahead, what you need to know before your next visit to the Roanoke County Courthouse. Plus, police are asking for your help in locating a Roanoke County woman who's been missing for a little more than a year now. Those segments and much more, hope you'll stay with us. In recent months, there have been some changes to courthouse security in Salem, Roanoke, and Roanoke County. We're here at the Roanoke County Courthouse with Sheriff Mike Winston to talk about some of these changes and what they mean for the public. Sheriff Winston, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with us about these changes that pertain to electronic devices. And it's a court order, correct?
It's a court order that we got, I think it was late August, and we put it in effect in October. And we've had, most people understand what's going on, but we still have a couple of problems. We've got the signs well posted to warn the people ahead of time in the parking areas across the roads as you come up to the courthouse and even before you come into the doors. So it's been a good. Most of the people understand why.
And most of this pertains to cell phones primarily, correct?
Most of it pertains to cell phones. A lot of it, just the electronic equipment, cameras, any type of laptops, anything like that people have. We are cautioning them because there could be weapons, obviously.
Okay.
Could be transporting information out of the courtrooms that are not supposed to get out. And there are a variety of different things why they've been banned.
So when people come into the courthouse and they go through the security here, if you have a cell phone or a camera or other device, communications device, you're asked to take that back to your vehicle, correct?
You're asked to take it back to your vehicle. That's correct.
And what besides this type of change, as far as security goes, there's also cameras throughout the courthouse that are also helping to enhance security as well.
We have just recently installed a group of cameras in our places that are not patrolled by our deputies all the time. So anytime a situation happens, we're able to record it, we're able to listen to it, we're able to play back, or we're able to see it live. So we've got the ability to see it live, or we've got the ability to play it back later in case we miss it.
Let's talk about some other changes too as well. We've got video visitation now to also enhance security. Explain that and how that works with loved ones or friends who come to see inmates here.
Right. Well, it started off, the new regional jail took a lot of our inmates. So what we did, we put video visitation here that would allow them to visit rather than going all the way west to Salem, come here and visit, and they can visit back and forth. So we decided, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Rather than moving our people around the courthouse area and around the jail area, we could just put something in the cell for them to visit by, and the people come in, and we've got 5 different visitation stations where they sit in front of the TV and talk back and forth.
And this does enhance the security for your facility?
Does. It keeps from having to move the inmates around the jail. We just put a unit inside of the pods. People come right to the pod, sit there and do the visitation. They don't have any problems.
So if people who are watching want more information about the changes pertaining to the electronic devices, do you have that on your website or a place?
We do have it on the website, and the phone number's on the website too.
Okay.
So if they need any more information, they can call.
All right. Well, always very good to talk to you. Very good information to pass along to our citizens too.
Thanks for coming by.
All right. Thanks, Sheriff.
Okay.
And stay with us. We'll be right back.
Roanoke Valley Television RVTV Channel 3 is on Facebook. Go to www.rvtv.org and click on the Facebook icon to like RVTV3 today, your government and educational access station.
Welcome back. I'm Dan O'Donnell, Assistant County Administrator, and I'm here today with our Director of Library Services, Diana Rosapep. Thank you for being with us, Diana.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
And we are here at the site, the construction site for the South County Library. It's going well. It's a beautiful day, and we're really glad to be able to see the facility today.
The weather's very nice for a change. Last year was a little grim, but this year's great.
Well, tell us about the progress of the construction. How far into this construction are we, and when is it estimated to be finished?
We're probably about 60% along in the construction. We're expecting to finish late in the fall this year. As you can see behind me, a lot of progress has gone outside the building, but now they've moved inside too and are working in there as well.
It looks like a lot of activity and lots going on, so it's a good thing. Tell us about the features of the library. What all is involved in the features of the library, the building itself?
The building is going to be pretty remarkable. Beyond just being a place where people can get books and DVDs and other things, they're going to be able to find a lot of services here that we weren't able to offer at our current site on 419. They'll have drive-through book drops. They'll have after-hours lockers where if they can't get to us before the library closes, they can come and pick up their materials afterwards. There's a small coffee shop. There's an information commons where people can just hang out and read and surf the internet and see what's on the news. There's 2 meeting rooms and an auditorium. Lots of places for people to sit and be and enjoy.
So it's a lot more than what you'd expect from what you think of as the 419 library, with an auditorium and a lot more meeting spaces and things like that.
Sure. It's meant to be a community gathering place, and I think it will be.
Now, in addition to all the features of the building, it's a very unique site too, and there's a lot of attributes that the site brings. Can you tell us about what's going to happen on the site?
The site itself is adjacent to a federally protected wetlands, and that's played a big role in our planning as we build a library that could take advantage of the site and respect the site. We will have walking trails through the wetlands so people can see a view out and learn about the ecosystem of the wetlands. There'll be a lot of there's adjacency to nearby parks and recreation facilities and the school.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. Where most people probably know where we are, but some people may not. So could you tell us where the location is and how it does tie into parks and schools?
This site is right across the street from Penn Forest Elementary School on Merriman Road, and most people know where that is. They may also know that it's right next to the brand new roundabout, which is kind of a fun thing to drive through, and it works really well for routing traffic. It's also adjacent to Starkey Park and the Merriman soccer fields. It will be kind of the connector link between those. People will be able to walk from one to the other.
So it's really kind of the linchpin in a big county complex in a way.
It will be, and I think it's been a needed improvement in this area, and I think people are going to love the adjacencies of it.
Well, it certainly is a great project, and we're looking forward to see it be completed in the near future.
So are we.
And you have another project going on I'd like to ask you a little bit about. We have another project that just began, the Glenver Library. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Well, Glenver Library is due to start construction this fall, but before that can happen, we've been having community meetings and gathering citizen input so citizens of the Glenver community can tell us what they want in their new library. Right. Because we try to make these libraries reflect the communities they serve.
And we have done one public meeting. How did that go?
That was a great response. We had a little over 40 people there all together, and they had lots of opinions and ideas and suggestions, and it was all really helpful. If people want to see what some of those suggestions are, they can go to our library's website, and they're posted there for everyone to read, and they can make suggestions of their own.
And my understanding of the Glenver Library, it's going to be about 3 times the size of the existing library.
Yeah, so the existing library is pretty small. So the new one will be about 15,000 feet.
Quite an expansion. And when is that estimated to be completed in Glenver?
That's in December of the following year, 2012.
Well, certainly have a lot going on.
We really do.
Imagine you have your hands full, but you're doing a great job, and congratulations to you and all of your staff, because you have a wonderful staff. We've heard a lot of good things from the community about them, and it really is just a joy to work through this with you, so appreciate all you do.
Thank you. We're looking forward to this project ourselves, both of them.
We'll be right back.
A little over a year ago, a Roanoke County woman disappeared while walking to a friend's home. Her name is Joan Cook, a 44-year-old wife and mother of a young daughter. Roanoke County Detective Andrea Morris is the lead detective on the case and is hoping that someone watching may have a clue to help solve this mystery. Detective Morris, take us back to a little over a year ago. When was it that police received a call, and what information did you get?
We actually received a call January 27th in the afternoon. However, Ms. Cook actually disappeared or was last seen on the 24th of January at approximately 11:45 p.m.
So the call that came in, you're saying that when the call came in, some time had already elapsed to when
Absolutely.
she was last seen.
That's correct.
Through your detective work, what were you able to determine, or who were you able to determine actually saw her last?
The last person to see her was her husband at their home in the West Salem area.
And what did he describe about their conversation, how she left the home, what took place?
He stated that it was very typical for her to leave on foot to go and walk to this friend's house. So he did not feel that anything was unusual at that time.
So unusual until several days had passed.
That's
and
correct.
She didn't come home. Tell us a little more about the walk from her home. So from the evidence you gathered, she left the house, and the house is on what road?
It's on Elderwood Road.
In the western part of Roanoke County.
Yes.
And
then she would
left.
have walked down Texas Hollow Road, and then her friend lived in a neighborhood right off of Texas Hollow Road.
You said it's about a mile between her home and her friend's home.
It's exactly 1 mile.
So is the hope, maybe someone watching may have recalled seeing something going on that night as they were driving home themselves, perhaps?
Absolutely.
It was around 11 what?
11:45 p.m.
Okay. Was that unusual for her to leave that late at night?
It was actually a little unusual for her to leave that late at night. Also, she is a very well-maintained young woman. She was very particular about her hair. And that night it was raining sideways, 42 degrees. It was raining quite hard that night.
The friend, was there anything that the friend said about whether she would normally call when she left her home and was headed to her house?
Yes, she would. She would always get a phone call from Joan saying, "Hey, I'm on my way. I should be there in a few minutes." And she did not receive a phone call that night.
Was she carrying anything? Have you recovered any type of evidence as to maybe a cell phone that maybe was dropped on the road? Have you found anything?
She did leave with a duffel bag, and she was wearing a red sweater, blue jeans, and Timberline shoes. We have not recovered the duffel bag, and we have not recovered any of the clothing items that she was wearing. She always had a cell phone on her person. Cell phone has not been recovered. The morning of the 25th of January, a text message was sent from her cell phone. It's unknown whether or not she actually sent that text message. But a text message was sent from her cell phone at approximately 5:30 the morning of the 25th.
Would you say that you have a bad feeling about this case because of some of the things you've learned? In other words, evidence or people's stories to you have indicated that it would be very unlike Joan Cook to just disappear and leave her daughter behind. She had at the time an 8-year-old daughter, correct?
That's correct. Joan, all indications is that Joan was a loving mother. She would stand at the bus stop and she would watch her child on the bus until the bus disappeared into the neighborhood. Joan would not leave that bus stop. She would always stay in contact with her daughter whenever she did go on trips or would leave for a weekend or so. She would always stay in touch with her daughter. Her daughter is very important to her. There hasn't been any financial activity and no contact with her daughter whatsoever.
It's often cliche to say disappeared without a trace, but it seems that that's really what you as a detective are dealing with.
Yes, it is. And we just want to find closure for her family. Her family wants to be able to know what happened.
And at this point, you can't say whether she's alive or dead, either one.
Can't say whether or not she's alive. Can't say that she's dead, and if she is dead, that it was due to a tragic end.
Do you stay in touch with her family?
Yes, I do. I speak with her mother on about a weekly basis and her sister on about a bi-weekly basis.
And they want closure.
Absolutely.
And not just closure for them, but also to be able to tell Joan's daughter what happened one day.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of people watching want to know what became of the child.
She is living with her father out of state right now.
Well, anybody watching who may have some information, perhaps saw someone walking down that road that night, or knows something about this case, how can they get in touch with you?
They can email me at admorris@roanokecountyva.gov, or they can give me a call at 540-777-8635.
All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing this information, and perhaps, like we said, someone watching may have some small piece of information, may seem small to them, but could be large to you in trying to help solve this case.
Yes.
All right. Detective Morris, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.
Seatbelts save lives.
Okay.
Visit NHTSA.gov.
That is spectacular advice.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Clay Goodman. I'm the Roanoke County Administrator, and I'm here today with Brent Robertson, our Budget Director. Brent, as everyone knows, one big part of our work relationship throughout the county is the budget. We're currently in the FY 2011 budget. Would you like to give the citizens an update on how we're progressing with the budget this year?
Well, I think we're pretty fortunate right now. Earlier in the year, we were projecting that revenues may not come into the budget levels that we had projected originally. However, the improving economic conditions, while they're not substantial, they are improving enough where we think we will have a small surplus in revenues this year.
Okay. Are there any general trends that you've seen in the revenues, any improvements as we look forward not only into 2011 but the proposed 2012 budget?
Yeah, once again, a lot of the national indicators that we've seen that showed improvement in the economy are starting to play out in the local revenue items that we have, such as meals tax and sales tax and hotel motel tax, things of that. And we are expecting that those will carry over into the next budget year as well, and so we've bumped up some of our revenue projections for the fiscal 12 year as well.
Well, we've discussed the revenues. How do the expenditure side on the proposed FY 2012 budget look?
There are some things that concern us a great deal. I think with a lot of the things we've dealt with in the past with fuel prices, with a lot of the unrest in the Middle East, we're seeing that today, the increase in prices, and we're expecting that to plague us through the rest of this year and into the next year. As well, utility costs are escalating. A number of the utility carriers are asking for rate increases, and that will affect a lot of our operations.
Okay. We sort of did used a different process as we started working on the budget back in November, December. Would you like to give the citizens some information as to what we did differently this year?
Yes, as we started the budget development process, we were expecting to have to deal with some scenarios that were deficit situations in the county. So we put together the departments in functional teams. For example, the police, fire, sheriff, Commonwealth attorney got together in a team of public safety. We also had our internal services, human resources, finance, budget, things of that nature. And what they did is they developed these scenarios to deal with reductions and then talked among themselves to see if there were some ways that they could mitigate any issues that would arise that would impact our citizens. So it was a good process, and the departments worked very hard at it, and I think we'll see the fruits of that when you present your proposed budget to the Board of Supervisors.
As anyone knows, in local government, one big component of our budget is the state appropriations that we receive on an annual basis. The General Assembly just recently completed its session, approved the budget, and we were starting to receive information. What kind of indications have you received, because I know it's still very preliminary, as to what we can expect from the state budget as we move forward?
As you said, it's still kind of early. However, the early indications we get is that it will be a much improved state budget for us locally than we were expecting back in the fall. The state revenue projections have improved with corporate taxes, personal income taxes, sales tax as well. And so some of the loss of revenue that we were expecting has not materialized, and one of the areas that has helped us out quite a bit is the General Assembly improved additional school funding over the governor's proposed budget, and once again that helps us a great deal as we fund in partnership with the school board.
I think we've also received some additional funding in 599,
Yes.
which will support our police department.
Yes.
We've started presenting budget information to the board on as we have meetings and so forth. As we move forward in our discussions with the board, what kind of priorities have the board provided to staff as we start to craft or develop the budget for FY 2012?
Well, when we started the process last fall, probably October, November, the board was very clear in some of the priorities they were giving us, and the traditional ones that the board has always supported very highly were education and public safety. But they also asked us that when we were developing our reduction scenarios to make sure we minimize the impact on direct citizen services as much as possible, as well as they asked us to look at protecting the current employment levels or the employees as much as possible as well. And it looks like as we get through the budget, we will be able to mostly meet the board's priorities.
Okay, why don't we advise the citizens as to our next process, next steps in the process, and some dates as we move forward in completing the draft budget and its presentation to the board at future meetings?
I think our next step from a public standpoint will be the board having a public hearing on the tax rates for calendar year 2011, and that will be, the public hearing will be at the March 22nd meeting in the evening at 7 o'clock. At that time, after the public hearing, they will adopt a tax rate for real estate, personal property, and machinery and tools. After that, you, the county administrator, will present a proposed budget to the board at April 12th meeting in the evening, and then there will be a public hearing on the proposed budget on April the 26th, once again open to the public in the evening meeting.
The public hearing for the tax rates, you might want to advise the citizens. That's my understanding. We're proposing no increases for taxing items at this year. Is that correct?
That is correct. The board was very clear on that we would develop a budget within the existing tax rates.
Okay, thank you. Where can the citizen obtain additional information as we move forward in preparing the budget, so they can obtain information and be informed as we move forward in developing the draft budget?
Well, anyone is always welcome to call my office and talk to myself or my staff, and my phone number is 772-2021. I'd be happy to talk to anybody who has any questions, but probably the best place to get up-to-date information will be at the county's website at our homepage, which will be www.roanokecounty.va.gov. And there will be a button on the front of that page that will take you to the budget webpage. That'll have all the information we've shared with the Board of Supervisors throughout the budget development process.
Okay. Well, Brent, I want to thank you for all your time and your staff as we move forward working on the budget. And we'll be back in a few moments.
Welcome back to Roanoke County Today. We're here at Glenver Elementary, site of an Arbor Day celebration planned for April. And here to talk about all of the events and activities, I'm joined by Lindsay Blankenship with Roanoke County, Carol Underwood with Valley Beautiful, and Bob Bourne with the Virginia Department of Forestry. Thank y'all so much for talking about what's going to be a really fun event for so many people. Bob, let's go ahead and start with you. If you wouldn't mind, talk about what is Arbor Day.
Arbor Day is, for a forester like myself, every day is Arbor Day, and it's a celebration of trees, and that particular day, the planting of trees, which started back in 1872 with the planting of about 1 million trees in Nebraska. And if you remember Nebraska back then, there weren't a whole lot of trees out there, so they planted a lot of trees to break the wind. so that folks could plant their crops and the precious topsoil wouldn't blow away. So that was really, really important, was to have those trees. And in Virginia, we did it, we had our first Arbor Day in 1908. So we've been celebrating Arbor Day here in Virginia for over 100 years.
That's amazing. A long time, a lot of trees being planted as a result.
Yes.
Tell me what is planned for this school, for Glenver Elementary, one of you.
Arbor Day will be held on April 21st, 2011. It's going to be held at 1 p.m. And we're going to have the children available. We're going to have some board members from the school board as well as the board of supervisors from Roanoke County. We're going to have Valley Beautiful there. Department of Forestry will be on site as well. We'll have Ranger Bob there with the children to help with the plantings. And this is a collaborative effort with Roanoke County and the school system. And Chris Lowe at the Roanoke County Schools helps coordinate this project very heavily.
And my understanding is that we're standing behind us right here up around the guardrail is where the trees are going to be planted?
Yes, ma'am. We're going to have 8 dogwood trees planted and 2 spruce trees, and we're going to dress up the area along the guardrail.
And so that's in April, but you know, really, from what I've read, Arbor Day, anybody can celebrate Arbor Day as a family, as a church, as an organization.
Absolutely. Arbor Day is it's been going on for so long, and we would just love to have everybody participate in Arbor Day and plant trees. Everybody plant a tree for Arbor Day. You know, it would be just so great if everyone would do that.
Bob, that brings me to a natural question. We hear Carol's enthusiasm. It's really, it's Valley Beautiful's enthusiasm as well for this area. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes. Back in 1981, when Valley Beautiful was established, you know, they did the hanging baskets in downtown Roanoke, and then with fundraising and things, they're able to branch out into the different communities, and folks can, you know, apply for a grant and plant trees or beautify an area on some public ground. And it's been a real collaborative effort because we also have a local urban forestry council, and the two get together to plan these events and publicize these events. So yeah, it's a collaborative effort. We're so happy to have Valley Beautiful around. One of the big things is Valley Beautiful is the best kept secret in the community, and I wish they weren't a secret. You know, they want to get the word out for folks to you know, not only be a part of their organization, but also to receive some grant funds to beautify various areas in the communities are all around Roanoke Valley.
Well, keep doing what they've already been doing for so many years to benefit this area.
Yes.
One thing we talked about a little bit earlier that surprised me, I don't think about a county as a Tree City USA, but that's actually the case, I believe, with Roanoke County.
That's right. If you ever see, the Arbor Day Foundation has this Tree City USA designation, and on their website it is city or town. It doesn't say or county. And so Roanoke County, being a Tree City USA, is unique not only in Virginia but across the country. What I understand, there's very, very few counties that are actually Tree City USAs, which speaks highly of Roanoke County, that they care so much about their trees that they have the requirements for Tree City USA, which there are 4 standards, and many communities don't have that, but Roanoke County does, and we work really well with Roanoke County, and they work well with us and have this designation, which is good for the community, that they do really care about trees.
Well, I think the collaboration is evident by the fact what's going to take place here at Glenver Elementary later on in April. Well, in closing, I'd like to let the viewers, folks who are watching at home, who maybe want to celebrate Arbor Day themselves or learn more about it, where would be a good website to go to?
Well, we have, Valley Beautiful has a website, and it's www.valleybeautiful.net, and just please, it's a beautiful site, and it gives you all the information about Valley Beautiful and all the great things we do. And please come out and plant a tree.
A great cheerleader. Thank you so much, Carol and Bob and Lindsay, as always. Thank you. This has been a fun segment. We look forward to what's going to take place in April.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, stay with us. We'll be right back. Interested in keeping up with Roanoke County? Follow us on Twitter and Facebook, or find us on YouTube. For a link to county departments using social media to communicate, visit our website at roanokecountyva.gov. That's all for this month's edition of Roanoke County Today. Please join us again next month when we sit down with a group that's helped redesign Roanoke County's new website, set to go live in mid-March. Hope to see you then.